Hare Srinivasa, thank you for joining to the concluding part three of our three-part series of benefits of Vishnu Sahasranama. And it's been going really well for the last 2 weeks. And I think Sundarji has given lots of insights about the benefits of Vishnu Sahasranama. So this will be the last part. And if you have any questions, let's hold fire till the end. And then we'll take questions one by one. And I'll now hand it over to Sundar to have the last part in this three-part series. Thank you, Sundarji.
Thank you, Shrihari. Pravisya mama vachamimam prasuktam sanjeevayatyakhilashaktidhara swadhamna anyam cha hastacharana shravanatvagadin pranannam bhagavate purushaya tubhyam नारायणाय परिपूर्णगुणार्णवाय विश्वोदयस्थितिलयो नियतिप्रदाय ज्ञानप्रदाय विबुधासुरसौख्यदुःख सत्कारणाय वितताय नमो नमस्ते. So we are now in the concluding part of the lecture on Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. If you see the technical word that is used when we do the concluding part is upasamhara. Upasamhara means pause, not stop, because the idea of learning spirituality and getting spiritual knowledge is always believed to be a continuous process in the Sanatana Dharma. So if you see any picture, even of Sri Madhvacharya, even as a painting, you will see that he is actually seated next to Sri Vedavyasa and still learning the Shastra like the way he has been learning all these years. So when our Guru, Sriman Madhvacharya himself is learning new things, how come, we can say that we have learned everything? So that is the significance of the word Upasamhara. So if you may say, this is the Upasamhara session of the topic of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. So let me get into the presentation, more like a guide to whatever we would like to speak about. Yeah, Srihari, if you can just let me present. Yes. Can you see the presentation now?
No, we can't see it yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Bantu.
You can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So today is the third session, as we talked about. So I will not go too much into the recap of the first two sessions. The videos of both these sessions are available today. You can actually watch it on the YouTube channel that Sri Raghavendra Swami Mutt in London has. It has also been uploaded on the Ataha website, Ataha YouTube channel. You can watch it there as well. So very quick context is that Sriman Vishnu Sahasranama is a part of the Puranas. It is a part of the Mahabharata, to be specific, which is called the Panchama Veda. So anything which has got that grade of Mahabharata is something, it's very clear that that is something indeed very special. The second thing is when it was recited, as we all know, it was recited by Sri Bhishmacharya in the presence of the Pandavas, and most importantly in the presence of Sri Krishna. So the person to whom all this was addressed, the person who is the who has to accept this as a stotra and say that yes, whatever has been said is right, was present right there. The judge was present as an eyewitness. Very rare case where the judge is present as an eyewitness. So you look at that unique combination of something being in Mahabharata, something that is being recited by Bhishmacharya, who was all of 800 years old, and out of which 425 years of this he had spent learning in the Devaloka. or the heavens under the tutelage of Brihaspati and later on he was a student of none other than Sri Parashurama, God himself. So it was something which was very unique, and the situation that it was recited was also very unique. The war has got completed, but Yudhishthira is still, guilty of having fought that war. The same anxiety, the same sense of guilt, misplaced guilt, that you can see in Arjuna before the war is something that you can see in Yudhishthira after the war. So in such circumstances, it was recited by a person who was full of wisdom and was actually laying on a bed of arrows, which was virtually his deathbed. At that time, he recited this. So he asked this question, and in fact, Draupadi Devi asked him a question, saying that, you are saying so much about dharma. Where was this sense of dharma when I was being humiliated in the Kauravas court? To which Bhishmacharya says with all humility that, I could not act at that point because the blood which was flowing in my body, the food which was giving me the energy, belonged to somebody like Duryodhana, who was a demon. So if you eat something which is wrong, the food which is not sattvic, which is tamasic, it has a big impact on your ability to think right. So that is exactly what had happened to me. So I knew what was happening was wrong, but I could not do anything beyond a ceremonial way of saying this is wrong. So this is what had happened to me. So what comes out at that moment is a very, very wise person's last message to someone he dearly loved, which are the Pandavas. And who should be there as a witness to this whole thing? It is Sri Krishna himself. So this is one part of its greatness. The second one is elaborated by Sriman Madhvacharya, where he quotes the Skanda Purana and says that the Vedas have 3 meanings, the Mahabharata has 10 meanings, and Vishnu Sahasranama has a minimum of 100 meanings. So no other Sahasranama in the world has got 100 meanings, for a minimum of 100 meanings for each word. Each word has 100 meanings. Each word is also connoting a particular form of God, that is Rupa of God. And it is something which is connoting a particular superior quality of the God. So it is something which is absolutely unique in the way it is constructed. Further, as we saw last time, that each shloka, each rik or each sentence of the Brihati Sahasra, which is a collection of 1,000 verses which form a part of the Rig Veda, has got a corresponding name in the Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. So Vishnu Sahasranama is a one-word summary of the Brihati Sahasra Rik. So at Brihati Sahasra is called the food for the god, or Anna for the god. That means something that makes him very happy. So it is indeed, the Vishnu Sahasranama has got Vedic genesis, and that is why you see that it occupies a very, very special place. Now Vishnu Sahasranama also explains many, many tenets of the Madhva philosophy. Unfortunately, because of the paucity of time, we are not able to get into that detail about Vishnu Sahasranama. Maybe if there is interest, we can talk about how Vishnu Sahasranama itself explains the tenets of the Madhva philosophy. One example is Muktanam Paramagatihi. There is one word called Muktanam Paramagatihi. That means even people who attain the salvation or mukti, for them the ultimate abode is Sri Vishnu himself. So once one gets moksha, it doesn't mean that everybody becomes equal. They are all different. The gradation is maintained even then. And even at that time, they are in the complete control of Lord Vishnu. So this is Muktanam Param. Just one example to say what this means. Now, Vishnu Sahasranama is a collection of 1,000 names. But with 1,000 names, we are trying to explain someone who has got infinite qualities. 1,000 may be a big number, but it's insignificant in front of infinity. We all know this. So then how do you explain what, how do 1,000 names, explain something that's infinity? It is because 1,000 or sahasra is just an indication. Sahasra Bahuartavachi. That means whenever you use a word Sahasra in Sanskrit, it actually means many or infinite. So Vishnu Sahasranama is not just a collection of 1,000 names, but it actually connotes the infinite nature of Sri Vishnu. Only Vishnu has got the name Ananta because he is someone who has, there is no limit for anything that he does. His vyapti, that means his presence, his gunas, that means his qualities, his bala, jnana, all his qualities have one adjective added to it, which is Ananta. And that is what makes Sri Vishnu the most unique and most supreme of everything that we know. Now, the other speciality of Vishnu Sahasranama, as we saw, is that this is studied. A stotra is rarely studied, it is recited. But Vishnu Sahasranama is actually studied and researched into like no other topic. We will see what research has happened in this name. And of course, we looked at certain unique names of Sri Vishnu. So I would urge the people who have missed the last session to please go through that in detail, because that's an important aspect of Vishnu Sahasranama here. Then we looked at what is the whole trigger for Vishnu Sahasranama. Yudhishthira asks a very seminal question. He says, Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kivya Pekam Parayanam. So look at the how many times he has used the word Eka. Eka here means not one, it's one and only one. He wants a very clear, precise answer to his question, which is that what should I do? Whom should I pray? And how should I pray him to be able to come out of this cycle of life and death? Whom should I pray so that all my difficulties, all my sins get washed away? Whom should I pray so that the, the prayer to whom itself is a supreme task for me? So what's the best thing I can do? This is Yudhishthira asking, Ko dharma sarva dharmanam. Yudhishthira, who is Dharmaraja himself, is asking Bhishmacharya that which is the most supreme dharma for me? What is the duty that I have to perform? And to all this, the answer from Sri Bhishmacharya is also very, very direct. It says that it is Lord Krishna or Vishnu whom you should be praying to. And one may wonder, how come Bhishmacharya, in that state could even speak? So Bhishmacharya says, I do not have the strength to even speak. Imagine a small pin pricks us, how much of pain we will be. Till that small pain goes away, we are hardly able to speak. Anybody comes and talks to us, we get angry. We say, oh my God, don't you know that I've been hurt and you're talking to me? But at that time, if he is able to deliver this great message to Krishna, how did he do that? So Krishna tells him that Bhishmacharya, don't worry, this is a question that he has asked, and I will help you. I will come and energize you. I will be within you and give you the energy, give you the knowledge, and it is through you that I will actually be speaking. So these are not words of Bhishmacharya, nor did he invent Vishnu Sahasranama at that moment. Vishnu Sahasranama always existed since eternity. As we have seen, it has got a Vedic root, and it was at that time, these people are called Drishtaras. That means they are people who discover things. There's a difference between invention and discovery. So this was discovered by Sri Bhishmacharya, right? So like this, what happened therefore was that Bhishmacharya was able to recite the Vishnu Sahasranama, and again Sri Vishnu himself, not only was he present there as Sri Krishna, he also documented the whole Vishnu Sahasranama as a part of Mahabharata, and rest as we have is the Mahabharata text itself. So it is by the God, for the God, and to gain his blessings. So this unique combinations of whatever we discussed makes Sri Vishnu Sahasranama the most supreme stotra. Now, why am I repeating this point? Is that Vishnu Sahasranama should not be recited as any other stotra. It has to be recited with the full commitment and dedication and devotion. So, if one does it, what does one get? He gets moksha. So anybody who gets which any stotra which promises moksha is indeed very unique in its nature. Okay. So with this, let us move on to a very important part, which I'm sure all of you are very keen to learn, which is what is the method of recitation. So Vishnu Sahasranama is to be recited after learning from a scholar or an authentic online source. There are many versions, many people have rendered it. I do not want to comment on who has recited it properly or not. I'm sure all of you will be able to find the right diction. So it's very important that you learn from a scholar. The reason we say that you should learn from a Sanskrit scholar or a Vedic scholar is because of the pronunciation and their ability to explain the meaning and the context in which Vishnu Sahasranama has to be recited. So our Shastras always emphasize that we should always make an effort to recite any stotra after trying and understanding the meaning. So learn from a scholar or an authentic online source. The second one is, if you're following a printed text, please ensure that the printing is accurate. If there are spelling mistakes, which can very easily creep into a Sanskrit text, especially when the words are broken up, you have to ensure that that does not happen. So please go to an accurate printed text in a language which you know. Kannada, Telugu, Devanagari script, these are ways to learn any stotra. Please do not learn any stotra with English script, because no matter how much one tries, the pronunciation is never accurate. So if you don't find an authentic text, it is fine. Please listen to the stotra which is recited with accuracy. Second thing is, the third thing is, learn the correct pronunciation with the right diction. The pronunciation is very important. In Sanskrit, it could be in other languages as well, but in Sanskrit, the meaning of a word changes very dramatically if you recite a word in another manner. So we don't want that. So we want to use the words which are part of the Vishnu Sahasranama. So even if it takes a little more time for you to learn, please use the right pronunciation and diction. Now it happens often that when we have learned a stotra and committed to memory, when we are reciting it over and over again, after a few years especially, without our knowledge, some of the mistakes might creep in the way we recite the stotra. So please ensure you do not, you check your pronunciation again and again. Best thing is to have some kind of a revision class with people so that they can guide you. Face to face is better, but the next best option is online, right? When you are learning the stotra, recite it slowly. Do not be in a hurry to recite it, because most mistakes happen when we are trying to increase the speed or when we are in a hurry to complete a stotra. We all understand the pressures of time, but I think you should make time, especially when you're learning, and then slowly increase the speed. Now, when you're learning, let us say you're not able to recite the full stotra, you may break it up into parts and ensure that you're giving enough time to learn the diction and the pronunciation. I'll give you one small example. There is a line called Udbhavaha Kshobanodev Sri Garbha Parameshwara. I'm sure all of you are very familiar with this. Now there is a rule in Sanskrit which says, but any letter, any word which starts with the word ksha, ksha, kshatriya, that ksha, right? Before you pronounce that word, you have to give a small pause. It should not be a stop. It should be a pause. And then you should say it, because you have to give yourself enough space to be able to take the word sha, because it's a difficult word to pronounce. It takes more time than other letters like ka, cha, ta. It ksha takes more time. So you have to say, so how do you pronounce this line? You should not say the way I said it first. Udbhava kshobano. No. Udbhavaha kshobano deva. You have to give a small pause. So like this, if you learn it correctly, you will be able to learn Vishnu Sahasranama very well. And one more thing about Vishnu Sahasranama, which I'm sure all of you have experienced, it is very easy to commit it to memory. At the face of it, it looks like 1,000 words, but once you start learning the prasa, anuprasa, alankara, which has been used profusely, will help you learn very fast. Chaturmurtis, chaturbahus, chaturvyuhas, chaturgatihi, chaturatma, chaturbhavas, chaturveda, vivekapat. If you start that sentence, the sentence will complete by itself. You'll be surprised. For those of you who have committed to memory, I think you would be able to share this experience. And for the others who are starting, you will be surprised how fast this stotra actually is committed to your memory. So don't be in a hurry to do this. Recite with concentration and focus on meaning. I think Madam had asked a question last time about focus on the, how much should we focus on the meaning? Yes, you should try and focus on the meaning as much as possible, because that is what will give you the true sense of concentration, right? Otherwise, this becomes a very mechanical activity. Last one, recite all the time. You can recite Vishnu Sahasranama any time of the day. However, there is the recommended time for any stotra is early morning. Early morning, there is a special quality in the air which energizes you. Our mind is completely free or relatively free of all pressures, stress, tensions, wrong thoughts, etc. Fatigue, it is free of that. So, such a beautiful time early in the morning should be dedicated to somebody who's equally beautiful, somebody who's very, very precious to us. There are many mothers and fathers and parents on this in this session. All of you will agree that when a newborn child is at home, what do we do first thing in the morning? We want to see the child. The mother wakes up thinking, oh my God, how can I sleep? My child must have woken up. That is the spirit with which you wake up. Imagine the child is just a mortal child, but Lord Vishnu is someone who has been with us for forever and will be with us forever. Such a beautiful person, don't you think he deserves the best time of the day, the best attention of the day? So as soon as you wake up, you should think about God, pray to him, and as soon as possible, take a bath without delaying, and then sit and recite Vishnu Sahasranama. It is absolutely advisable not to drink coffee, tea, or anything, or consume any food before recitation, because empty stomach is a great time to actually perform any sadhana. When your stomach is empty, your focus and concentration will be very high. The moment food goes into our stomach in any form, there is a fatigue, there is a laziness which sets in. So you want to avoid and give it your best attention. So you should recite it early in the morning. Now, there are questions many people ask, how many times can they recite Vishnu Sahasranama? There is no binding. Any number of times Vishnu Sahasranama can be recited in a day. Once you have recited in the morning, you can recite it again in the afternoon, evening. There are many people who recite Vishnu Sahasranama, in the morning and in the evening. They've just made it a habit along with their prayers. Very importantly, Vishnu Sahasranama itself says, Bhaktimanya Sadothaya Shutistadgatamanasaha. That means our mind, our body should be something which is pure, Shuchi. So there should be purity. That means the clothes that we wear, our mind should be as pure as we can. We should not be seated in a place which is full, say, for example, being seated on a bed or so on and so forth. You should take a bath and then wear clothes which are absolutely clean. Definitely, you should be wearing traditional clothes, highly recommended. Traditional clothes meaning a sari for women and dhoti for men. And why is this? Because I think I have covered this in some of our earlier workshops. You can go to Ataha Madhvacharya for the youth. There are also Instagram reels. So please subscribe to these channels. There are hundreds of videos which we have made on why we should be doing what we do. So the clothing that we wear, whether it is a sari or a dhoti, is flexible clothing. That means it can be adjusted. The length can be adjusted depending on the form of your body, the shape of your body. All of us know that the shape and the form of our body undergoes minor changes during the day. So we should be able to adjust our clothing, which is not possible in something like a shirt or a trouser or any of those Western clothes. So we would highly recommend that you wear a traditional set of clothing and sit on the floor preferably. But if you can't do that, please sit on a chair and recite this. You should try and find a calm place because we don't want any eddy currents, anything that is distracting. But all of us live in cities, so perfect peace may not be possible, but relatively calm. So one way to solve all these problems is to recite it early in the morning. So I'm sure very few people will be awake at 5 a.m. in the morning. So if you can manage to do that, nothing like it. So that is the recommended. Some people ask this question, should I recite it loudly or should I say it in whispers? There is no recommendation that it should be recited loudly. It should be recited to suit. However, if you have people who are wanting to listen to the shloka, there are many people at home who might be willing to listen to this. If that is the case, you can recite it loudly because they can also hear, and you'll be surprised that if you learnt it in 1 month, they will learn it in 15 days just listening to your recitation. So many of the stotras which I learned it at a very young age from my grandfather. He never sat in front of me and recited it. He just used to recite it. I heard it and I had picked it up. I'm sure all of you have had this kind of experience. So it's our duty to ensure this is passed on to the coming generations. So recite it loudly or in whispers depending on the environment. If you are in an environment where people don't want to hear, I don't think you should be disturbing them. You should just recite it in with a mellowed voice. Next, the whole science of repetition. So many people ask this question. Why should when we are reciting the Vishnu Sahasranama, why don't we just pick up one word, one nama, and recite it over and over again? No problem. You can definitely do that. However, the ability of the human mind to focus on one name is challenging. As we have seen, Vishnu Sahasranama is a collection of 1,000 names with 100,000 meanings at the minimum. Here, the recitation of the name is one part. Getting what is called the anusandhana or the understanding or the internalization of that meaning is very important. So I would urge all of you to recite it with the understanding of what it means. So therefore, reciting it in 1,000 names, not to mention we've already covered the thing about how it does the nadi shuddhi, etc., are a huge benefit that we get. The same thing is true with the Harivai Stuti also. Many people might not be aware of this. The Harivai Stuti itself is natural pranayama. Why? Because it is set in what is called Sraddha Vritta. That means there are 21 words or letters in each line of Sri Harivaya Stuti. 21 letters, and they are split in 3 parts of 7 each. So if you recite it like that, it becomes a natural pranayama. You're reciting it, taking a pause, reciting it, taking a pause, reciting it and taking a pause. That completes one sentence. So this is natural pranayama. Every time you stop, you breathe in. Otherwise, you're holding your breath. Srimad Vishvangrinistha Adiguna Gurutama Srimadananda Tirtha. That's how you recite it. So like this, Vishnu Sahasrama has its own ability to set that pace with you. And if you recite it over a period of time, you'll realize that slowly and steadily your health is improving. It is proven by thousands of experiences that we hear from our participants very regularly. And of course, any meditative task, of course, leads to focus and contemplation. It is something, once you have learnt it by heart, you begin to contemplate on it. It's playing in your mind wherever you go. Slowly, Vishnu Sahasranama becomes a way of life. And why is it important? In the different yugas, we have seen this already. There are different things which are prescribed for our spiritual elevation. In the Kali Yuga, the yuga that we are in, what works superbly is Harinama Smarana. Right? You know, in the Bhagavata, it's very clearly outlined that the influence of Kali is on virtually everything and every activity and everybody. Nobody is free from this. All the way up to Rudra Devaru, Lord Shiva, in the hierarchy, they are impacted by the trouble that Kali gives them. Even while performing the Devara Puja or the Saligrama Puja, every day we say this, that Kali Nityam Sannihita Kali Bhimasena Mahabhago Baho Gadaya Pothaya Prabho. So even in the Saligrama, the Kali has entered. So we do the Kali Dosha Nivarana Abhisheka first and then continue with the process. Why are we saying this? This negativity is a feature of Kali Yuga. It's not an exception. In other yugas, that was an exception. Negativity was an exception. Here it's a way of life. So therefore, in this state of mind, in this larger ecosystem that we are in, achieving any spirituality becomes difficult. So therefore, what should we do? We should recite the Harinama. So while God has brought us into the Kali Yuga, He's also given a great mantra to all of us, which is that, in this time, a lot of things will go against you. But here is one thing. It is the recitation of Harinama which can help you overcome all the problems. That is one area that Kali cannot influence. So therefore, if you want to overcome the dosha of Kali, let me add another thing. Many of us, are very curious and sometimes anxious about this Sade Sati or 7.5 years of Shani Prakopa. All this, at that time, the stotra which is highly recommended, you can go to any astrologer or speak to anybody who's a learned person, he will tell you that the best remedy for this whole thing of getting rid of any Shani dosha that you may have is by reciting Vishnu Sahasranama. So if it is a one-stop shop, which is what he asked Yudhishthira, Kimekam Daivatam Loke, Kimya Pekam Parayanam, Stuvanta Kam Kamar, Kam is singular. So again he is asking, tell me that one thing that I am supposed to do. Don't tell me 100 things. So to that is recitation of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. It's really the panacea for all the ills that we have. The Phalashruti, of course, is very, very elaborate. And it says that whatever you want, you will get. Rogarto muchyate rogat baddho muchyate bandhanat. Baddhomacheda Mansana, that means somebody who's trapped will be released. Trap can be of many types. So any trap that we are in, finally the trap of birth and death, which is the most difficult to overcome, is done by Vishnu Sahasrama. And why? Because it is all this Vijnanam, everything is in the control of Lord Vishnu. So he is the one who has given us everything. He is the one who's going to give everything. For when we want knowledge, we pray to Goddess Saraswati. When we want wealth, we pray to Goddess Lakshmi. When we want our obstacles to be removed, we pray to Lord Ganesha. Right? Whenever we have mental, challenges, anxiety that we are facing, we pray to Lord Shiva. But who is giving them that strength? That's why we hear this. Yasmat Brahmendra Rudradi Devatanam Shiopicha Jnanaspurtihi Sada Tasmai Haraye Gurave Namaha. So only God, Sri Hari, is the one who gives everybody what they get. Shiopicha Yasmat Brahmendra Rudradi Devatanam Shiopicha. Especially they've counted out Goddess Lakshmi, because even for her, the person who gives them that strength is none other than Lord Vishnu. So if you want all your problems to be solved with just one solution, which is Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. That is why the profundity of Vishnu Sahasranama is so high. So as we are coming to the concluding part, let me also share some resources. Now these are resources I would strongly urge that you get it. The good thing is they are all available. The bad news is that they're all in Kannada. So I'm sure all of you are looking for English resources. I will come to that in a moment about what we are trying to do. So this first book that you see is printed by the Palimar Mutt, and this book is a very large book. It has got about 800 pages and in 3 volumes. So it is 2400 pages, where each name of Sri Vishnu that appears in Vishnu Sahasranama has been analyzed from a spiritual perspective. So now when I told you that it is Vishnu Sahasranama is a topic which is researched, now you know what it means, right? It is research to the core, and each name they have given for 10 to 12 meanings. And what is the basis for them to get that meaning? It's not just a shot in the arm or just an etymological analysis of the name. It is actually where all, for example, Vishwam, where all does Vishwam appear? They have gone all over the place and they have done this. So that is one. The other one is again written by Tattva Samshodhana Parishad. It is Shri Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra Anusandhana Paddhati. That means what should be the internalization of Vishnu Sahasranama when you're reciting it. For each name, again, Shri Raghavendra Upadhyaya has written a beautiful commentary. Again, this is in 3 volumes, about 300 pages each. So that's about 1000 pages, but again, very well written. Now, the last book that you see here is a very recent release by our Guru, Dr. Vyasinkara Prabhanjanacharya, where he has given the background to Vishnu Sahasranama and also mentioned meanings for each name. So it is about 3 or 4 lines. He has explained the meaning of each word and each name of Vishnu Sahasranama. Very useful book and something which is very handy and something that helps you at least understand one meaning of Vishnu Sahasranama, right? So these are the resources that we have. Now, again, coming back to the topic of English, right? Unfortunately, we don't have any immediate solutions, but here is the good news. Thanks to the Sri Venkateshwara Bhakti channel, the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam has a television channel. Of course, it is available on all television channels in India, the specific channels. It appears in 4 different languages, and one of that is Kannada, the other one Telugu, Tamil, and Hindi. So Tirumala, this Sri Venkateshwara Bhakti channel 3, which is dedicated to Kannada, actually has come to me and they have asked me to shoot episodes which explains the meaning of Vishnu Sahasranama word by word in English. So they want it to be available to everybody, not only in the India, but in other parts of the world as well. And this is available on the YouTube. This channel is available on the YouTube. We have to start production of this. Of course, it's a mammoth work, and only Lord Venkateshwara should give us the strength to be able to do this. But I'm sure with His great grace, we will complete this project soon. It will have upwards of 300 sessions. So it's a long work because we have to explain so many meanings. But I think, just as I said, reciting even one name of God with full anusandhana and bhakti is good enough to take us all the way up to moksha. The gods, the rishis, Bhishmacharya, Sri Krishna himself, of course, have been very kind to give us so many options so that at least one of them remains in our mind. That is what Madhvacharya says. Reciting the name of God all the time is very important. But santatam chintayanantam antakale visheshataha. That means whatever we remember at the end is what is going to give us moksha. But one can say, okay, let's take it easy all our life, and then towards the end, somehow, we will just manage to do this. Now, that we all know, all of us have taken enough exams in life, passed and failed both. And in both the cases, we have realized that studying overnight, one day before the exam, is not only stressful, but it's absolutely useless because it doesn't happen like that. So why we say that is santatam, that is why Sriman Madhvacharya, I think, understands human psychology better than anyone else. That is why he says santatam chintaye anantam. Santatam, that means all the time, satatam. You have to remember God all the time without exception. Chintaye anantam. Antakale visheshataha. That means at that time one should recollect and contemplate of God as a highlight, as a special thing. If you do it all your life, that is what is going to keep you in good stead when the time comes for us to go from this world. At that time, if you have done it enough number of times, if it is internalized, if it has become a habit, then God will be again very kind to us and say, this person has done it all his life. I think he deserves to be able to remember me at the at that closest time. So that is the power of reciting God's name. So with that thinking, let us think about people who have started and who are already reciting Vishnu Sahasranama. It is great to hear that. And for people who have not heard or who have not started it for whatever reason, I would strongly urge all of you to kindly start that. Don't worry too much about reciting it first every time. One should slowly and steadily refine it as we go along. One should slowly and steadily learn the meanings and get it right over a period of time. So with that, I will pause now and take the questions that may be here.
Thank you so much, Sundar. And it's been a very insightful discourse over the last 3 weeks. We have a few questions in the chat. I'll pick them one by one. Sir, I have a question. When we are not well, where we wouldn't have taken bath and wearing warm clothes, which might not be traditional, but we need to chant Vishnu Sahasranama for peace and heal the disease, what to do?
Nothing. It's very simple. If one is not well and cannot take a bath, it's fine. Just recite Vishnu Sahasranama from wherever you are. Remember, the lesson to us came from someone who was on his deathbed. Bhishmacharya was not sitting in a yogic pose when he recited it. So this is actually elaborated in the Harikathamritsara. I'm sure all of us are very familiar with this. Malagi Paramadaridi Pulitu Keduva. That whole verse, we only recite that verse. We don't recite the verse before this, which is about Gangeyanuta. That means he is referring to this incident about having recited. So if you're not well, no problem. Just do, if you can Come out of your bed and recite it. Good. If you can't, no problem. Recite it from wherever you are.
Thank you.
Just one
Uh,
more thing I want to add, Sri, on that. You know, all the names of gods are pavitra already. So even if you're lying by saying those words, you become pure on it yourself. That's why, you know, when people speak, sometimes, you know, you can have a spray off from their words, but if it is just the name of the god or any shostra, it's actually a blessing. So I just want to elaborate on that. Thank you.
the next question we have is there a recommended printed book for recitation, please? Most of the books have printing errors and hence looking for a clean print.
So there is the book of Sri Pramanjanacharya. It is in Sanskrit and in Kannada. It's called Stotra Malika. That is absolutely free of errors because Stotra Malika has been reprinted, I think, close to 60 times. And every time it has been edited for any mistake. So I can very safely say this book is free of errors. And the font, the print, everything is superb. So whichever language you are comfortable, you can take that and read that. So this is the way to do that.
Thank you. Varun, you have your hand raised. Do you want to come out of the mute and ask the question, please?
Namaskara, Sundar sir. Happy late Hanuman Jayanti. I wanted to ask, apart from this Vishnu Sahasranama discourse, do you do any other online courses or anything like
Yes.
Vayustuti, maybe classes?
Yes. So what we are doing is that first of all, I will show you some resources that we have already created on several topics over the years. So please try and follow that. All of them are in English. What we are doing now is from 2 weeks from now, we will be starting a weekly course on covering special, several spiritual topics. I will give you the contact IDs where you can ping us on the topic that you want to be prioritized. So this is a very democratic process. So we will go by what people really want to learn. And this will be a weekly class that we are doing, and we will cover as many topics as possible. So it'll be something like what we're doing right now. So the answer is yes, we will be doing, but you already have enough resources that you can start reading, going through online.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Is it okay if I can get your email? And
Yes, I will show you that. I will show you all
okay.
this in a separate slide, my last slide.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Varun. Karthik, I think you have your hand raised next.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Namaste, Sundarji. I've been following your Ataha for quite some time now, so it's a pleasure having this discourse with you. One question from my side. I understand that usually before the starting of any stotra, we add the names of the Drashtara Munis and the Chandas in the stotra. But for this, we say the Drashtara Muni or the person who's viewed the stotra is Veda Vyasa Muni. That I understand that's what it says, but it is through Bhishmacharya that we receive this. So why do you think that changes?
Yeah. So your question is, what exactly is it that we are calling it Bhishmacharya, but usually Drishtaras are Munis?
No. The name of the Drashtara Muni is Veda Vyasa in the stotra itself.
Yeah.
But it is through Bhishmacharya we received it. My question is, why isn't Bhishmacharya's name as the Drashtara Muni?
Yeah. So because one, Bhishmacharya is not a Muni. So it is, and he was not the person who saw the Drishtara first. So the Drishtara is the person who sees it first. Like for many Veda mantras, you would have heard about Chaturmukha Brahma being the Drishtaras, or for Gayatri mantra is it Vasishtha, Vishwamitra Rishi who is the Drishtara. After that, several people might have seen it. In this case, Bhishmacharya only recollected that. So he is not the Drishtara who was first. He recited what was already present by seen by a Drishtara. That's why we say Vishwamitra. Here in this case, Veda Vyasa Muni is the person who brought it out or spread it across in the world. So that is why we say that. Vishnu Sahasranama already existed even before Bhishmacharya said it.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Any
much.
other questions in the last few minutes?
See, while we're getting more questions, one thing we are selling, in Anuvyakhana, Sriman Madhvacharya says something fantastic. He asks a question saying that, suppose you recite Sri Hari's name once, how much of your sins do you think will get destroyed? Once with bhakti, with complete commitment and devotion, if one recites, says Sri Hari, how much of sins, how much of your sins will get destroyed? So everybody is thinking hard. He says, don't think so much. You have not committed that many sins. Right? So that is the power of reciting Sri Hari's name just once with devotion and with commitment.
Thank you.
Right? So we have 1000 options.
Any other questions before we
There's
conclude?
just one thing I wanted to
Yeah,
show.
please.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, yes.
I don't know why this is not moving. I don't know why this screen is not moving. Yes,
Ah.
there it goes. So I'm also happy to say, share this. Sri Venkateshwara Bhakti channel is also broadcasting a special series on Sundarakanda Ramayana. This is Sundarakanda is the portion of Ramayana where Hanuman jumps from the Mahendra Parvata, goes to Lanka, destroys Lanka, meets goddess Sita or the Sita Kriti, meets Ravana, serves the warning and comes back. This portion, as we all know, is Sundarakanda Nirnaya. So this is what this special lecture is being organized by them starting tomorrow. So it's at 10 p.m. IST starting tomorrow. It's a 6-part series which brings in a succinct manner what the Sundarakanda is all about. So if you have the time, I will share this with you on the Instagram post as well. You can watch it. It's 10 p.m. India time, which is roughly about 5:30 UK time. So if this suits you, you can attend that. Now coming back to our contact details, we have a YouTube channel, Madhvacharya for the Youth. We are also there on Instagram. I will share all this as resources when you post this video. We will also share these links that are there. You can also write to us on Madhvacharya for Youth at gmail.com. So we are available here. Instagram, just go find. If you can't click all this, just go to Ataha and say Ataha Madhvacharya for the Youth, you will automatically get it. So, and this particular program, Srihari and Pranav have also posted it with a joint, with a sharing and collaboration with the Instagram post of the Mutt itself. So you can find us there. So this is
And
what, yeah.
I will post these links on our YouTube channel as well, so that it will be available in case if you want to refer it back. And we'll post this YouTube on the final part as well on the YouTube link very shortly. We will be planning a lot more discourses with Sundar in coming weeks and months. So on that note, we would like to thank Sundarji for his exceptional discourse over the last 3 weeks, giving lots of insights about Vishnu Sahasranama, the benefits and other things. We are very grateful to you, Sundarji, for taking the time and giving your experience and sharing your thoughts about this particular key aspects of Vishnu Sahasranama, which we have always been reciting at our Mata for the last X number of years, for 7-8 years since we opened it. But of course, this will give us an enhanced view of that Vishnu Sahasranama and also give us an insight as to why we should be saying reciting this, and also how we should be reciting it, and the context at which we should be reciting this. So it's been extremely useful for all of us. And thank you so much. And we will be having our next one, I think, on 27th of April, and that will be the topic of why you should be celebrating Akshay Tritiya, the benefits of that, and also why we are doing Gandha Lepana to Guru Raghavendra Swami on that auspicious day of Akshay Tritiya. So we'll be sending out the messages very soon. Please take a note of it, but it will be hopefully on 27th of April at same time, 5 p.m. UK time. Thank you so much. Hare Srinivasa Sundarji. Hare Srinivas to all of you.
Yeah, thanks to all of you to have been a patient audience. I hope this adds some value to the way we are reciting the Vishnu Sahasranama. Special thanks to Srihari and Pranav for having invited me and giving me this opportunity to share whatever little I have learnt from our Pujya Gurus, Sri Vyasankare Prabhanjanacharya, Dr. Srikantacharya Bayari, and Dr. Srinidhi Pyati. All three of them have been teaching me over the many decades now. And I think this refinement about what is Vishnu Sahasranama comes in many places in the Sarva Moola Granthas. So thanks again, and look forward to connecting with all of you. This sloka, Kayena Vacha Manasa Indri Irva, Buddhyatmanava Prakrite Swabhavat, Karomi Yadya Sakalam Parasmai, Narayana iti Samarpayam. This is a very important part of any spiritual activity, which is that at the end, whatever we have done with Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, Indriyas, Buddhi, everything, our Swabhava, everything, we are offering it to Lord Narayana, and we pray that this is dear to him and he blesses us. Thank you so much.
On this note, we will say Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare
Thank you, Hare
Srinivasa.
Srinivasa.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Hare Srinivasa.
Thank you, sir.
Hare
Hare
Srinivasa.
Srinivasa.
Thank you.